Appreciate it. Oh, nice little mic. All right. Just want to get started.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Well, it's really great to see such a large turnout. This is the second year that Young Surveyors Network has been at ESRI, and I'll let Cam and Ben kind of talk more about that. But this is really their show. They're here to kind of explore how we can bring GIS and land surveying together, and it's becoming more and more important that we start looking at that for the future of both of our industries, really. So I'll let you guys go ahead and get started and introduce yourselves.
Cool. I'm Cameron Lowe. I'm a registered professional land surveyor in the.
We're not going.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
All right. I'm Cameron Lowe. I'm a registered professional land surveyor in the great state of Texas. I see an Astros hat. I saw an Astros shirt. So I'm from Houston. So thanks for coming out to see me. I know I'm the reason you guys are here, so I appreciate it. Well, anyways, I am a second generation land surveyor, and I've been licensed for a little over 2 years now in Texas. And I'm very passionate about the surveying industry. We need more young surveyors, as I'm sure y'all are well aware of. I am also the director for Texas Young Surveyors through Texas Society of Professional Surveyors, TSPS. So I'm very honored to be here. The Young Surveyor Network with NSPS asked me and my brother to come out here and host a couple sessions, so we're really excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Ben Lowe. We are twins. I've got my SIT in the state of Texas. We both work for LJA Surveying in Houston. FIG reached out to us about coming out here and giving a presence for surveying. I know this is, normally a GIS event, but we're excited to be out here and give our whatever expertise we might have for surveying.
And I'm Caitlyn McNabb. I'm the director of GIS for a land survey company in Colorado called Aztec Consultants. My background is actually pretty unique. I started off in land survey. I had a surveyor throw me an Alta and say, hey, figure out how to draft, figure out how to do all of this stuff, which was invaluable for me. And now I'm really dedicated to working on bringing GIS services to our clients and internally for our land surveyors to help improve their processes and efficiencies. And I'm here also, the Young Surveyors Network reached out to an organization called ESRI, which is a professional organization that really focuses on professional development for those involved in urban regional infrastructure. So if you want to know more about that, I can tell you more, but I'm going to let these guys tell you about the Young Surveyors Network right now. So.
Great. So real quickly, FIG, we are the Federation International Surveyors Group. We're located all over the globe, and it's very, very easy to get involved. We have, if you can go ahead and go over a couple more. There we go. Let's go right here. So it's been a group for a very, very long time, and it's growing rapidly. We have 10 different commissions: professional standards of practice, professional education, spatial information management, hydrography, position and measurement engineering surveys, cadastral surveying and land management, spatial planning and development, evaluation and the management of real estate, and then construction, economics, and management. So we're kind of surveying is a very broad industry with a lot of different disciplines, including GIS and other things like that. So we're really, we have a really broad range of members all over the globe. And it's very, very interesting discussing different stuff that we have going on all around the world. We're a vibrant group of students and young professionals from around the world. And again, we have different meetings. This is our North American meeting here in ESRI, and we have different ones around the world. But this is a little map showing the different areas where we have meetings this year. We're all over the globe, like I said. Okay. Let's go ahead and advance one more. So real quick, before we get started, I just want to kind of poll the audience. Who, trying to get y'all's background. Yeah, who has a background in surveying? Okay.
Quite a few.
Wow, that's okay, cool, that's great. Who has a background in mainly GIS?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anybody else that I didn't cover? I'm just curious. Okay, cool.
Kind of done some surveying and done GIS.
Okay, and I'm sure there's a few more in the audience who are mixed in the boat. Okay, cool. So this can be a fun presentation. I was really hoping we were going to be the only two surveyors. I'm really excited to see that. That's great. Okay, just real briefly for those who don't have a surveying background, I just wanted to kind of go over some of the basics of surveying. And we know we're talking about the collision of GIS and surveying. There are always going to be in both of our industries things that neither the other group are going to be hands-on in. It's just one of those things. We're trying to collide and integrate as much as possible, but there are going to be certain disciplines within our professions that, a GIS person doesn't want anything to do with the legal side of surveying, and the surveyor might not want to do with a lot of the technical GIS stuff that a GIS analyst would be doing. So, yeah, surveying, it's so much fun. It's an adventure. You're out all over the world. You're always going to need surveyors. It's challenging. I don't know if the guy in that picture really needed that shot there, or if he did it because it'd be a really cool picture. I would never do it. I probably would have captured it with a drone or something. But to each his own. We have a lot of cool technology, and that's one of the big things I'm trying to stress to the younger crowd. We need more young surveyors, and with the younger crowd being so technology driven, and our industry is technology driven, they're perfect candidates to get into surveying. It's one of the coolest things about surveying is the great technology. Some of the stuff, like I said, that will never really be fully integrated within our two industries is boundary surveying, establishing the boundaries of a parcel of land using the deeds and the different laws pertaining to that state. Those are some of the things as a licensed surveyor that you're really going to be the only one that's really focusing in on that, and that's going to be kind of your expertise area, and someone in GIS really wouldn't be touching with that. This is a really cool monument out in Texas. It's right on the state line of Texas and New Mexico.
What area is that?
That, I believe it's right along the Panhandle. I believe it said mile marker, it's 66. I can't remember which road it is, but yeah, it's right along the Panhandle, the West Panhandle line. We do topographic and construction surveying, basically. Depends on what the client wants, but we go out, we gather data. We can do that through 3D laser scanning, traditional methods, through aerial, LiDAR, and drones, and stuff of that nature. And we'll get into that here in a little bit as far as the data management and utilizing GIS more. Construction surveying, again, it's very broad industry, so it's anyone looking to be a surveyor, they can kind of, more than likely there's something that we do that interests them. Did you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah, sure.
And we're going to focus on this later with GIS.
Yeah, so we'll touch on this in a little bit, but one of the main things we do at LJA that involves GIS is pipeline surveying. From the very beginning, we'll consult with our GIS department to get soil types, population density, anything like that in an area before we start routing a survey for a client. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to fall in the same right-of-way as an existing one, but sometimes hey, we want to build a brand new pipeline. We want to find the easiest route, the route that won't require a ton of excavating, and the safest route to transport whatever product. And so they'll consult with us, and we'll consult with our GIS department at the beginning, like I said, to plan a route. And we'll go out there and do the topography, design it, get all the bends calculated, and then we'll go back out there for the construction and then the Asbuilt, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And that's part of the right here we have the left photo. This is a project I was on up near Fort Worth on the Barnett Shale Formation. They're fracking for natural gas up there, and so they're trying to put a bunch of pipelines in the ground. It's crazy how busy it is up there, but on the left, that's part of the construction phase. We'll go out there and stake the center line. In the center, each individual pipe This is part of the data that's going to be put into the actual finished product in the GIS database. So each individual pipe has a pipe number on it that I have to log. It'll have its own heat number, which is associated to where it came from, what batch it was in. In this case, these pipes came from some company in Canada. That's all I really knew about them. And then I'll get a link number as well. And so each little individual pipe that gets loaded off the truck, I'm logging in my field book. And once they start welding it together, you can see in the bottom right, there's a X-ray number. So each individual X-ray of the pipe, they're going to come through and label it. And then at the beginning, I think you can kind of see that someone kind of scribbled on an A, kind of crooked there. It's hard to read sometimes, but that's the X-ray rig. They came by and X-rayed that particular weld, put their rig number on it, or letter. And so I have to get all this information in my field book, which on the next page you can see that. And I'll create like a weld map for the field. And so this is where being organized is key, because if you get one little weld number out of order, it's going to throw off everything else. So a lot of it is whenever they start welding this pipe together, I have to go down and look at every single weld, verify that this joint is connected to this joint. And where the problem arises is when those welders get tired of waiting and they just cut the pipe and they throw it off to the side and I have to figure out where it came from. That's always fun, but that's my I-man right there down in that bell hole, and then tying the actual weld just for reference.
Yeah, and we'll get into that here in a bit with the management of that data and trying to get that to the GIS group as quick as possible, and some methods that we want to do to try to tackle that issue. So then we also have 3D laser scanning, which is it's great technology, and it's constantly evolving and getting into greater detail, millions of points in a great dense point cloud. It really just depends on what the client needs and how detailed they need the data. Again, and then Mount Rushmore, 3 of those guys up there were land surveyors. It's a profession that's been around forever. Then hydrographic surveying, we do this down in Houston all the time, the ship channel, especially after Hurricane Harvey, and having to check what the hurricane did to the actual bottom of the channels, stuff like that. So that's some of the fun little boats, and it's a kind of a finished model. And then we have drone surveying, which we do at LJ. It's incredible, the kind of toys we get to, I don't want to say play with, because it sounds like you're being careless, but we get to utilize and use. So. And this is just a real quick run through of kind of surveyors and the different stuff and tools we get to use, just for those who maybe don't have any surveying background. All right, yeah, I think we're good to go.
So, because a lot of you are surveyors in here, you're probably familiar with the fact that survey and GIS has historically had a lot of overlap, and then we're both interested in spatial data, right? But there's been a lot of tension between the two industries, either because of a lack of understanding on one side or the other. And the whole point of this session is to talk about how we can kind of close that gap. You know, where are we now, and how can we progress the two industries? You know, my vision for the interaction between these two industries is look something more like that. You know, survey and GIS, with the improvement in technology, with the improvement in software, and at the rate that it's advancing, it's so important that surveyors start using GIS in a way that's meaningful and impactful in their organizations. What is GIS to surveyors? You know, is it a tool? Is it a service? Or is it a threat? And for those change averse, those that don't like change or don't want to deal with it, it can be a threat. Mm-hmm. However, we don't see it that way. We see, if you go back to this slide here, we see that overlap, there's still certain things that are very, that are always going to be a surveyor's job. That are always going to be a GIS professional's job. They will never overlap. But if we can start bringing the two industries together, for instance, you know, surveyors are super interested in high accuracy, high precision spatial data. And GIS people have always been interested in very descriptive types of data, right? They want to know that that's a water valve, but they want to know when it was installed, what size it is, what material it's made out of, what the serial number is, how much it costs to replace it. We're getting into like asset management type stuff in there. But there's always going to be, a GIS person is always going to want better data when you talk about spatial accuracy. And I feel like surveyors are always going to appreciate more attribute information about what they're surveying in. This is, yeah, that's kind of what I just went over. So in my organization, probably one of the most useful applications of GIS has been as a new revenue stream. We actually started leveraging our Asbuilts into GIS databases and providing our clients with asset management systems that they don't have to wait on. If you guys were here last year, there was a presentation that talked about how are you getting your Asbuilts, right? There are people who are still getting paper Asbuilts. Have you guys seen that? Construction plans with red lines on it?
Yeah.
For me, as a GIS professional, that's useless information. I get crumpled, torn, stained papers from the field with a red marker on it, and that doesn't mean anything to me. And honestly, it doesn't mean much to the client because they don't know. Let's say there's a line of pipe that they had to redline. They don't know how long that pipe is, right? Because oftentimes the red line doesn't say like, oh, we measured it at this exact length, and this is, we talk about slope and invert flow direction when you're talking about sewer systems. That's my clients want to know all that information, and a red line on a piece of paper doesn't give us that. I still have clients using map books. How many people are still using map books or providing them? Yeah. So there are certain cases where that's really useful, especially in rural areas where you don't have a lot of internet connectivity. But we've seen a lot of map books being transitioned into a digital format so that your field operations are more efficient. There's a lot of problems with paper Asbuilts and map books, which is the backlogs, right? So every time new designs get submitted, how long does it take to get those designs into your map books? How do you know that they're accurate? Asbuilts hopefully being one of those methods. And really, GIS and survey together is so important for so many different aspects of a project, right? We need to stop thinking about surveying as surveying and GIS as GIS. We're both industries that are intimately dependent on geospatial data. We have to start thinking holistically. You're not surveyors stamping a piece of paper and sending it off. You are, in a very real sense, foundational to the way the cultural landscape evolves and develops around you. Sorry, a little bit of my anthropologist peeking through there. You're literally laying the groundwork for engineers to design successfully, for construction managers to monitor progress and compliance, for communities to have reliable access to utilities and to maintain safety. Your HOAs, your municipalities, they need to know where their assets are at a much more reasonable time frame than we're able to provide them. And this is a problem in my organization, and I feel like it's a problem in a lot of surveyors' organizations. It takes a significant amount of time to get as-built sent over to your client, and then your client then has to turn those over and give them to their GIS team, and then their GIS team has to put them in their database, right? That's a real struggle, I know, for a lot of our clients. And the as-built, the humble as-built, affects so many different parts of the project, from engineering at the design level, operations and inspections, obviously GIS, your contractors, and your drafters. We provide GIS products to our drafters in the form of FEMA data and other types of data. So it's so important that we kind of modernize your as-built system. And this I stole from a presentation last year. If you guys were here last year, there was a presentation that Magnolia River and American Water put on. Was anyone here at that one last year?
Well, yeah. This year.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I stole this from them. So I was just so impressed that they had this like all planned out. So traditional as-builts, you would start with plan and design. It would be built, right? And then it would be inspected, and then you would as-built it, right? And then it goes to GIS. And in that presentation last year, and hopefully they did it this year, they asked the crowd, how long does it take for you guys to get your as-built? And, sorry guys. And they got a range of 6 months to 4 years.
And longer.
I'm sorry?
And longer.
And longer,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and longer.
I've seen 8 years.
We'll just
Yeah.
put minimum there.
Yeah. So,
This is on a good day.
yeah. So 6 months to 4 years. If you start thinking about the lifespan of that project from a holistic perspective, I know my clients are like, I don't want my residents to be digging in their backyard and hit a gas line. How do they know if they're not getting their as-built back in a reasonable time frame? They don't know where their assets are. They can't protect their residents. They can't protect the people out there putting shovels in the ground, right? And that's my very specific perspective. You guys might have your own.
One of the things with an as-built for a pipeline client, we want to tell them exactly where every single weld is. That weld has a northing, easting, X, Y, and Z coordinate on it. And in this database, like I showed you earlier, they have heat numbers associated with every single joint of pipe, every single fitting that's over 17 degrees. And if something were to go wrong with this pipeline later on down the road, and we don't have an as-built for them, and say, hey, we got a leak over here, let's shut the pipe down, let's pull that up, and we don't have a database ready for them, they're not gonna know, okay, this heat number on this pipe is this. We need to go back and check every single other joint or every weld that might fail because of some faulty X-ray tech or something like that. So it's a matter of safety, like she was saying, for our clients and for our company to protect them legally in case of an emergency like that. So having it readily available as soon as possible, not months and years down the road, is very beneficial to them.
And yeah, that's one of the
utilities
things.
are doing a better job of that though. I think utilities, like you were talking about gas lines and stuff, I think they're doing a better job of it because I was able to do a one call in my yard 6 months after my house was built and have them come out and be able to mark my lines. So.
Yeah, and at the federal level, well, in Colorado anyways, the federal government said, you guys need to get your one-call center. If you guys aren't familiar with a one-call center, you can call
811, kind of,
sorry?
811?
811, yeah, you can call in and all the utility owners in that area come out and they mark it, or they say, no, we don't have anything out there. They actually came through Colorado and said, you guys have to get your stuff together. This is not an efficient or safe way of managing your utility 811 one-call center, whatever you want to call it. And so now they have the 811 has a GIS that, you know, when you call in, it automatically creates a ticket. And I can show you guys, I've got a demo of what we're doing right now for my organization on that. But yeah, they are doing so much better than they have in the past, 5 years. They've advanced significantly. So.
And that's one of the main things, and we're open for discussion. We want some feedback from those of you in the room, but that's one of our main driving factors in this is how can we be more efficient as two different industries, sharing data real time as much as possible. And that's some of the stuff Ben and I have been brainstorming with Kate here, and as well as our GIS department back in Houston. And that's one of the main reasons why we're here is how can we more efficiently share our data to where we're not having these lapse in availability for the client or other government agencies and stuff like that.
So what we've done in our organization is we've actually introduced GIS at a much earlier stage in the lifespan of a project. So we work with engineers who are our clients a lot of times, and we take all of their designs and we pop it into a database and we push it out to their construction managers, their field inspectors, and then when it does come time for as-built to happen, we're still collecting that information, but really we're just laying it on top of our design data and doing a quick verification and updating our GIS data as necessary. We found that our turnaround time for that is greatly reduced because they're already accessing the design data. They can go out in the field when they're doing inspections and say, hey, this isn't installed the way it needs to be. Well, based on the design, we can go through and check and see if there's a change order or if something really went wrong, and especially if it's for a system like a force main, which is pressurized, or sewer. It's really important that we make sure it was built right, or else you're going to have, you know, stuff on the surface that you don't want up there, right? And our clients love this. And the as-built, right now it's not real time. We're not getting stuff from the field and it going directly into a database, but that's next on our list. We're installing permanent base stations at some of our larger developments. And eventually we'll be collecting data using Trimble products, and it'll be streaming directly into our GIS database. So those as-builts, we don't have to wait for post-processing. We don't have to wait for them to be, you know, the field guys to come into the office and transfer it to the project manager to process the data, and then, you know, eventually remember to send it to us. So that's where we're headed next with this whole project. And something I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of something before we kind of go into demos. This is actually a screen grab of our client's data. What is in yellow was as-built. We said, hey, let us as-built your assets for you. Yellow is as-built. Pink or red, whatever it looks like up there, peach, that was design. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is, I show that to every single one of my clients, and I say, you guys, I don't know what happened, but your utilities aren't where you think they are. And we're lucky enough, we have locators inside of our company, so utility locators will go out, they'll be able to find it. But that is terrifying to me. And luckily that's private electric, but they also own their own fiber, their own sanitary, and their own water. So, and they're actively developing. So if you don't know where your assets are, especially while you're developing, how are you not gonna hit those lines, you know? So I show this to all my clients. As-builts are so important, and it's so important that a surveyor do them. And that's kind of the whole point of this is, at that American Water Talk, the Magnolia River American Water Talk, you had people in the crowd saying, you know what, I just went out and got my own GPS and I started collecting my own data. They're not surveyors. You're not getting the level of accuracy that you need out of an as-built like that. And that's scary to me, that people are just going out and getting, you know, consumer level GPS products and collecting it themselves.
Yeah, it's and you know, I believe one of the main reasons you had said that they were doing that was the surveyor was taking too long. So it's a double-edged sword. As a surveyor, we pride ourselves on delivering accurate data, as accurate as possible. But if we're dragging our feet in our industry or whatever the case may be, can't get too upset when they're going to be like, you know what, I need this data now. I'm going to go get it myself. When you know, it goes both ways, and I think there's ways to make it more efficient in both industries, and don't want to have any kind of friction or conflict. And what I've seen where I work, I'm fortunate to work under quite a few RPLSs, and it's a broad range of ages. Some are in their 70s, others are a little bit older than me in their 30s, and what I've got to see is some are a little bit more hesitant to utilize our GIS group or other groups, stuff like that, and maybe it's maybe it's out of fear, they don't understand the technology or anything like that. For myself, I love technology and I'm all for it. And I think with the newer generation of surveyors coming into the industry, I think myself and my brother, we really want to set a standard, at least there in Texas or in the Houston area, that we're trying to put the right foot forward and going forward and not creating barriers early on and really trying to collaborate as much as possible. And we got a great GIS team at LJA's, and they got a good spread of ages, but there's a lot of young guys there too, so we're already kind of developing those relationships and trying to brainstorm as much as possible in ways we can utilize our groups the most efficiently.
So I just wanted to show you guys a couple of things. One way that's been really useful, one way to bring GIS to your surveyors that is impactful and really makes them look is to set up something simple for them that maybe just makes their life a little bit easier. Who is familiar with the FEMA Map Service Center in here? I'm sure all the surveyors should be, if you're doing Altas and
Land title
topos.
surveys
Yep.
and other things.
Yep. So for our guys, they were struggling with accessing the Map Service Center. They found it clunky, they couldn't get their firm panels, they couldn't figure out if their property that they're working on is in a flood zone very easily. Because the way you usually get it is through this website. You can just go in here and select your state and, oh, I'm not,
No, let's close the actual presentation.
close it?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
Should go to your.
Okay, so this is what the FEMA Map Service Center looks like. This is where you can get a floodplain map. Still?
Hold on. PowerPoint's still up there. Let's go with that. Maybe close out of that.
Like all the way?
Maybe.
I don't know what's going on.
I love technology.
Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Yeah, check the little notification in the bottom right.
I'm not seeing what you're talking about.
Yeah, see that? The screen sharing will pop up.
Nope. Okay, well,
Have to improvise.
yeah, we'll have to improvise. I have some, if you are interested in working with your surveyors or working with your GIS team, we have a lot of really simple, easy wins to start building that relationship between the two organizations. I can definitely show you or send a link to some of the things that I've set up, but we've set up like easy web apps where the surveyors can go figure out where their floodplains are, and then actually extract the data and put it into their CAD files. Whereas
Is it possible to see those links?
he's working on it.
Oh, okay.
You change it from extend to duplicate.
Extend.
Duplicate.
Just press in. Yeah, duplicate. Extend. There we go.
Change to duplicate.
Oh.
Oh,
There you
yay!
go.
Okay, thank you guys. So we have just a simple app that we set up. The project manager can actually come in here and, sorry, my ratios are all kind of off. They can come in here and they can drag a KML. This is just out of the box right now, and zoom to their area and see if their project falls in a floodplain. And if it does, they can extract the line work. Usually, or at least in my company, the drafters were extracting in PDFs into their CAD files and then tracing these lines. How accurate is that going to be for your drafters? It can't possibly be that accurate. And we took something between the research and pulling the firm panels and, drafting it all. We took something that took our drafters maybe an hour for a small project to do, we shrunk it down to a 15-minute process. So you can go to your managers, go to your supervisors and say, hey, look, we have an immediate return on investment by doing this. Just this small thing. It took us 30 minutes to set up this app. I'll show you how to do it. Like, I will personally sit down with you and set one up for your own organization if you want to, like, make a meaningful impact with your group. And this has been the best way for us to start building those relationships between the surveyors and the drafters and really bringing them together.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna,
Yeah,
I wanna bring that back with me.
okay.
I don't know what they do in the GIS department, but generally I'll just send them something, but it definitely takes longer than that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Gotta wait for them and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
it's, that's a great tool, and it's a great method to start really trying to open those doors and get the departments working together.
And something that we touched on briefly, but a product that is really important to both industries is drone technology. How many people in here, their organizations are using drones or want to use drones? Yeah. Surveyors and GIS professionals, both of them, right? So one of our major problems is our clients don't have computers that can handle a CAD file that's 20 megabytes large. Or if your imagery happens to be that condensed, it's a real struggle. So what we did is we actually flew this project. We were able to lay our GIS data on top. I've wiped out a lot of the data from it. But I just want to show you guys the impact that it has. Look at the difference in the quality of imagery here. That's about what you would get in Google Earth. My project managers will say, oh yeah, I can just use Google Earth, right? But first of all,
free.
a lot of times it's out of date.
It's free though. That's where the managers come in.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to go to your managers and say, hey, look how much better our imagery is. Look how much more up to date our imagery is. We have drafters that draft off of this imagery when our surveyors maybe miss an area, or it's super, like in here, this is a floodplain, right? We have the floodplain on there. Our drafters see that maybe there's too many shrubs, they can't get in there. Maybe there's a hazard, snakes. We have rattlesnakes in Colorado that you're not allowed to kill.
We're not
They're
afraid of those
they're
in Texas.
They're protected.
Yeah, I know, but they're protected.
Yeah.
They're protected.
Timber rattlers are protected.
Yeah. And what
Actually,
about your construction manager? So our clients are oftentimes construction managers. I can show him, and he can feel secure in the fact that this is a manhole that's being installed. He can feel secure in the fact that his assets are being installed correctly, right? Look, that manhole's exactly where it needs to be. Look, there's a stake for you surveyors out there. Stake for the lateral.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
miracle it hadn't been run over yet.
Look at that.
Yeah, those things are dump truck magnets.
10
And-
points per ladder.
Yeah.
How much further can we take this too, right? What about 3D modeling? Same data. I can go out there and show my construction manager, look, your lines, look how nice that is, right? And this is just something that one of my techs decided to, mess with. She was trying to figure out how to do the 3D stuff. She just decided to make that. We're using this for quantities and volumes, right? And that's another powerful tool to use for this. We can on these mounds, right? If you guys aren't surveyors or in construction or engineering, for those of you that don't know, traditionally you shoot, this is called the toe, right? You shoot a couple shots around here, and then you shoot a couple shots around here, and then you shoot the very top, and then you calculate the volume of that mound just by shooting, approximate the volume of that mound here and here. When you fly a drone, you may not get the same amount of accuracy, right? But you're getting a point on every inch of this surface. So your volumes are going to be much more precise. Where they might lack in accuracy, they might be more precise.
And with our survey group and GIS group at LJA, we have a separate company, subsidiary of LJA, that does all of our drone work with LiDAR, and they do photogrammetry. And both of our groups utilize the photogrammetry and the surveyors, we mainly use the actual 3D point clouds and LiDAR data, but the GIS group is utilizing those photos as well for a lot of their deliverables, and a lot of our projects that we're working on now, more and more I'm seeing we're having to collaborate a lot more with our GIS group, and when we have up-to-date imagery and things of that nature, we're updating clients more on, because we mainly do a lot of master plan communities and land development, and the clients want to know, I want to know what's going on, what's in the ground, what my project looks like, and we're able to collaborate more with our GIS group, and with the utilization of drones, it's not just, a lot of people think that's just a surveyor's tool, but the GIS group really loves using it as well, and calling the PAX guys to go fly sites and other things of that nature. So it's awesome technology that both groups can use, and
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Something that I'm just gonna kind of show you, and it's a plug for a company that's actually downstairs in the expo center, and I really recommend you guys go check it out. So this is our client's data that I was telling you about. We're grabbing the design data and then turning it to an Asbuilt. So I can click on this line and we can see here it's been installed, what type of line it is. If it's a manhole, it has an ID, who owns it. We can do the same for the parcels here, so we can see all this information about that particular parcel, and we can actually run inspections through here. So, and it creates a log of every inspection that's ever been done. You can click on it, see what the results were. Any one of these fields can be populated into your attribute data automatically. You can automate sending these to any non-GIS user. If you have to create like a paper trail for documentation purposes, it'll automatically send to that person who's responsible for that. There's like a sketch box, you can sketch out notes on here or a diagram if you need to. It's a really great program. For those that are interested in utility stuff, these are actually tickets from our 811 center. They automatically get brought into this system. Our locators can click on that point, see the information about that ticket, you know, if it's for a fence or whatever, who requested it. They can view the full ticket. If you have like the change averse that want to see the ticket the way they're used to, it's in there. And then to respond and create a positive response and send it back to 811 or whatever your organization is called, you can just fill out the form right in here. Yeah. So you can come through here, it populates the ticket number, the address. Here you would drop down and choose which code. If there's no conflict, it means it doesn't intersect with any utilities, you know, all stuff that most of you probably know. Enter notes. It populates a lot of this stuff in here for you. Add photos. Depending on what device you're using, you can pull from your gallery or just take a picture, sketch on top of it. And it's actually, oh, and look, they've already cleared all the tickets. So for our locators, he went from having, it takes about 15 minutes per ticket before to look at it, figure out where it's at, see if it needs to be cleared or not, and then decide whether to roll on that ticket, send somebody out to locate it. Now it takes him under a minute per ticket to process. So just by adopting this GIS first approach in his department, he's been able to save time and improve revenue, right? Because he's not spending so much overhead time manually going through all these tickets. So.
Do you want to go ahead and open it up for discussion? About like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we wanted kind of, there's a few more slides I wanted to show as far as FIG and ESRI and stuff like that, but before we kind of wanted to just open it up for a little bit of discussion. We'd love to hear feedback and personal stories about you know, crossing GIS and surveying, some of the things that's been working well within your organization, maybe some of the things that haven't been working well. But we kind of wanted to open it up for any discussion obviously, I was really happy to see. I mean, it's probably a little bit more GIS and surveying, but we have enough in here from both professions. I'd really like to kind of open it up for any discussion, any questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you guys in the survey industry started using some of the more, the GPSs with the GNSS receivers and things like that connect with IMS and connect with Quacker and things like that? Is that something you guys are looking at, or are you guys mostly using external?
So at our company, we mainly use Trimble. We have their TSC3 data collector, which is a little bit on the outdated side. We have had the 7 sent to us. We're still utilizing maybe 15% of the capability that Trimble has to offer, because we do a lot of stuff through Trimble Business Center. And I know I was at the Trimble booth yesterday, and they were operating on Samsung phones and different tablets that they're making more compatible. Right now, we're strictly only doing Trimble products, but it's definitely shaping up to using tablets and be able to send real-time data back to the office as well.
Yeah, and kind of going back on that, if y'all haven't been by the Trimble booth yet, I highly recommend it. Melissa Harrington, she's our chair actually of FIG. It's her little baby, it's her little project, the augmented reality with sight vision with Trimble, and it's using stuff like iPads or tablets, or in her case a phone, but it's also using an antenna, and you're able to see real live, here's what my plan's gonna look like out in the field, and there's GIS data associated with the attributes, and you can literally see, okay, this is where this road's gonna go, this is where this pipe's gonna
Find
go.
control points.
Yeah, it's some crazy cool technology. We already started talking to our survey technology manager. We'd really like to get on board with some of that stuff. So.
In our organization, we've upgraded to the T10s, and those are really expensive, rugged tablets that connect to, an external GPS. But I'm sorry, I don't think my mic's on. Yeah. But there's a lot of solutions if you're wanting to improve the accuracy of your data collection. So there's the R1 that Trimble has, and they also have the SP20s that they just released that are like in the GIS class of collector. And when you can go to a surveyor and say, hey, look at this accuracy, I can prove to you that this is as accurate as what you're collecting, then you'll see that technology being adopted. Right now, in my organization, there's just a lot of skepticism still about the accuracy of those products. So,
Anybody else?
What do you think of the Geo 7X for staking? Sometimes somebody needs to locate where is the water meter after 3 years, and I have the data, so the only way is just to locate it. So most of the time I'm right on point, but when people tells me, oh, what's the precision of that, and just try to tell them he's in the centimeters on the horizontal, but they're like, I need to know more about it, because that was the complaint, because somebody, when they realized they couldn't find their water meter after a week, I went and take it out, and the previous owner made a driveway and just cover.
So I'm not too familiar with the particular equipment you're using, but I think the question should always be asked, what's the end goal? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to get, am I setting a building corner and I gotta make sure everything's,
No, that's not my type of.
And that's the thing. I think it just depends on what are you trying to do? Am I just trying to find something? Am I trying to get within a certain, am I talking a tenth? Am I talking 10 feet? I think it just depends. I can't answer your question exactly on that equipment because I've never used it though.
Oh, okay.
I think it's, you have.
Yeah, so the Geo 7X is a GIS grade product, right?
Yes.
So they see that that's not survey grade accuracy, and there's a miscommunication, I think, between GIS professionals and surveyors about what accuracy and precision means. And really what it comes down to is that there's two different use cases, just like he was saying. I think the Geo7X is fantastic. If you're going out and trying to locate something, and I don't particularly like the software that runs on it, but I think it's great.
I went. One of the things, and I really admire. I just wanted to add up that you are doing it with the younger generation, and whoever wants to bash on me can bash on me, but all the old professional surveyors tend to be more rough on changes. Like, I'm old school. I don't like the way that you do that thing, and I'm like, why don't you give? And it's kind of like Mission Impossible. So doing it with the younger generation, that they're open, and continuously telling them that, look, you need to continuously learn. This is a profession that you never end learning. And yeah, I think that you are already doing it.
Trying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So so I work in the city, part of public works, so we use an R2, TSC3, that's how I collect my data. And, so it's accurate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But I collect it, because we have the whole picture as GIS, I take whatever I can do. If my storm water guy comes in and says, there's a manhole right here, and then I go to their photo and just like digitize it basically, that's as best as as it gets for that. So we collect the range of data, it's from digitized to survey accurate. We don't use a map grade GPS. And I think that's just the way it is. I think one of the big things is when we have a planner who's also he's a land surveyor, and he just feels like I feel like when he says GIS, it's like a bad word to him.
Right.
Well,
Well,
we see that a lot, yeah.
a lot of surveyors like to say GIS stands for Get It Surveyed.
Yeah.
They don't trust it,
Yeah.
and
And he
Who was
thinks
I talking to?
GIS is watering down accuracy, and I think we're just doing our thing, collecting as best as we can, and we'll take the accurate stuff as long as it's not ground. Don't
Right.
give us
Right.
ground data.
Right.
Well, and it just depends on what is this data being used for, and do we need it to be survey grade accurate, or what's sufficient depending on the deliverable.
But I think every GIS person, if they were given survey grade accurate data, it would be awesome.
There would be no complaints, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And one of the things that Kate was alluding to earlier is, we can give survey grade accurate data, but of course GIS groups would love to get more information about that data that they're going to be plugging. And there's certain things that the surveyor in the field can't acquire, but I think that's definitely going forward with our industries. That's definitely something we could work on. I'm going to do my best to give you survey grade data, and I'm going to try to get as much information as I can as possible to make your life a little bit easier. So I think
Just not in ground.
To that point, for you surveyors out there, how many of you guys have attributes set up in your field code lists? Yes, that's amazing. Nice. That is a powerful tool that will only help bring the two industries closer together, because it's collecting information that a waterworks department might need, in terms of what size is that pipe, what material is it made out of, when was it installed, when is it going to fail on me. That sort of information is so important. And if you can start training your field techs to collect that information using technology that they're already familiar with, or systems that they're already familiar with, that's going to be, a game changer.
You're saying attributes in your field code, is that right?
Yeah.
We talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit complicated if you're using TBC and then CAD. You have to set up your templates in a weird way that
That's what I'm looking at. 'Cause
It's pretty
I'm
simple
a
in,
GIS guy.
like
Yeah.
on Leica.
Leica, Trimble is very. What was he saying? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that that's why I don't know the CAD side as well as I'm a GIS guy, but I've been talking.
Right. So inside our Trimble software, for instance, that pipeline I showed you earlier, I had to take down a heat number, x-ray number, joint number, all that information gets thrown in there on one shot, timestamped right when I take the shot, so they know this was shot on this day at this time, that's when the pipe was in the ground. And then it's got all the data for them to where they can just quickly drop it in there. We had a question down here.
I just want to share something. We work for the Morongo Valley Mission Indians. We have been surveying, he's a GIS specialist, I'm a land surveyor. We have been surveying almost a year doing boundary surveys. And it has been very valuable to have a GIS specialist to have the information for me.
Absolutely.
In real time almost. When I don't remember working on a plat, I don't remember where the monument was, where the fence was located in relation to. It's invaluable to go there and just click instead of going through thousands of photographs as the usual surveyor does. Just going and click, and the photographs are there. And actually, I would love to have a virtual reality glasses so I can go.
It's coming, it's coming, it's in the works.
So, something that we've been doing, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of young surveyors coming into the industry, and that's a big problem. So a lot of times...
The average age of a licensed surveyor, at least in the state of Texas, is 62. We're both 28, so we're on the very low end.
So you have a lot of people that, you know, oh yeah, we did a project out there, maybe, you know, 20, 30 years ago. I know we did something out there.
X's on.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's right there. That's what that red mark is on the wall.
our company has been systematically going through our old project files. If I can get it to come on, Wi-Fi. We've been systematically going through our project files, and this is kind of the same area. Sorry, it's still not up. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, but it's doing.
Oh yeah, we gotta go back to the, there. No, go back to extend the displays. There we go. There it goes.
So we've been collecting all of our project data, and trying to get that information out of the surveyors' heads before they retire, out of our files before they get corrupted or lost. So, sorry, I'm gonna refresh that because it's being silly. So, here we go. As you can see, we've got, this is just a dashboard. It's something that's out of the box working. You guys have seen a lot of demos of these. Sorry guys. This is really cool. I'm really proud of this. We've been setting this up for years. This has been a multi-year project trying to get project area information and file paths. How many people have their files archived and can't find them? How many of you have different departments that have different names for a project that occur in the same geographic location?
Or different names for the same project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're completely separated.
I really want to show you guys this. So we've been creating this database for our project managers to be able to go and see all of the projects that we've ever done. They can drop a, just like I showed you with the FEMA stuff, they can drop a KML in there, zoom to an area and say, hey, we've done this many projects in the last 5 years. Here we go. Click on it. Come down here, see all this information, project number, project name, client, whether we had control or not, where we can reference that control from, project file paths. Eventually this will be hyperlinked so that our project managers then don't have to like copy and paste this into a,
Where were you finding that?
yeah. And one of our techs set this up. You can see how many projects are in this area over the past few years, right? And it's been incredibly powerful for project managers, so.
Going off what y'all said, it's very beneficial to have GIS and surveying work together because there's a lot of useful tools. Makes our jobs easier. Anybody else have anything real quick before we wrap up? I just wanted to show briefly. Last year, FIG. Let's go down to. Oh, now I think we're gonna have. No, we're good. We're good. No, it's working.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and scroll over a couple.
think it's the next one. So yeah, last year at the ESRI UC, I wasn't a part of this, but Melissa Harrington, our chair, she had met with the CEO of ESRI, and for the FIG Young Surveyors group, ESRI is very gracious, and they donated 100 licenses for our group to use our GIS online, and it's been incredible. And then if you want to go and show this is kind of a little breakdown of where it's been accessed, people are utilizing it, and stuff like that. So if you have any young professionals, surveyors,
These are all surveyors.
and I'm sure there are some GIS professionals in there too, young ones as well. But if you have any young surveyors or any GIS professionals, have them get involved with FIG. You know, we have over, I think, 10,000 members at least, like the Facebook page, but that's how you get involved. Go to social media. It's FIG. You can find us very easily. Get your young professionals plugged into that, and we have stuff like licenses for them to use. That's absolutely free thanks to ESRI. But we're really trying to embolden the next generation of young professionals, especially the surveyors, for Ben and myself, and then Kate with her GIS young professionals. But we're really trying to kind of put the right foot forward going forward with we have our careers. We have a lot of our careers laid out in front of us. We got a lot of time, but we're really trying to develop good relationships now and give some of those young professionals good tools to arm them and help them get established in their industries.
If you guys have any questions, especially about FIG or, YSN,
Yeah.
here's these guys' contact information. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly.
Looks good.
And if you want to bounce ideas off of like how can we implement GIS in our survey shop? How can we get survey grid accuracy in our GIS shop? How can we bring them together? Reach out to me. I love talking to people about this. I don't know if you can tell I went on and on and on. I will talk.
Sitting there.
Yeah, I will talk your ear off over this, and please reach out. I've got business cards if you guys want to get in touch. So I'm also on LinkedIn. These guys are too, which is probably one of the better ways to keep in touch with me. So, okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.